we just heard here on the Open the description of you as a ball hawk. I don't know that there's a better term ever used for a defensive back than ball hawk. I mean, that is fantastic to hear. How would you define yourself? Do you like that as a introductory word to think of when we think of you as a starting safety with the Bears?
Yeah, I actually got the name Ball Hawk when I was in college. My defensive coordinator, my DB coach, called me Ball Hawk. I had a ton of picks in college, 19 career interceptions, set the record for my college as well. So, yeah, I would definitely look at myself as.
I thought in college you were the mayor of Murfreesboro.
So
that too?
That is correct. But so I actually got this name, the mayor of Murfreesboro. It was coined by Mike Keefe, who's the announcer for the Tennessee Titans. It was one game my rookie year. I made a tackle, I made a play or something like that, and he just blurted out, "The mayor of Murfreesboro," and it just kind of stuck with me. So
that's where Middle Tennessee State is.
Exactly.
So you come here last off season. You've been here for about 5 minutes, and it seemed like immediately you assumed a role of leadership, that you were very comfortable expressing yourself, and it seemed like you adapted quickly to who you were working with and the environment here. What allowed you to do that so seamlessly?
I think it's just me being myself. I think, the resume that I come here to the Chicago Bears with, it kind of demands respect in a way. But I don't come in, and I definitely didn't come in like, hey, I'm taking over the room, I'm taking over this type of thing. We have a lot of great players already on this team. We already have an established leadership group, especially on the defensive side, with obviously starting with Tremaine, the middle linebacker, Jalen Johnson, and guys like T.J. Edwards, Montez, and DeMarcus Walker. So me just coming in and just being myself with those guys on the team allows me to be myself, and I think that's just who I am as a person, as a player. I just want to come in and try to give as much as I can and just be of service of everybody around me. And I think that's what leadership is. It's all about, being of service.
We've been talking about, obviously, your secondary quite a bit. When we talk about the Bears defense, I think we both kind of have decided that your secondary can be in the top 5 in the league. Do you aspire to better than that? How good can this group be? It feels like you got a lot of young guys coming into their own at the right time, and then veteran presence coming in as well.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal. I think at minimum be top 5. I think when you have a good secondary, you always have to have a mix of, just like you said, veteran leadership, but also a lot of younger guys coming into their owns. Obviously, like Tyreek, Kyler, and Jaquan, and obviously Jalen's been around the block a while. He finally got his recognition due, making his first Pro Bowl last year with the plays that he made. So just as a secondary, man, I think we're gelling really well together. Like I said, that is the expectation. But at the end of the day, we got to continue to work. At the end of the day, during the season, it's going to be ups and downs. But I think as far as the secondary, we have to be one of the rocks of this team, one of the rocks of the defense, because we all know when you make a mistake on the back end, it's usually big plays and touchdowns.
From the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like it's a defense that is that hard to learn or grasp. But how would you describe Matt Eberflus's defense, and how interchangeable are the roles of the safeties? Because Jaquan, Brisker, and you have similar skill sets, and I wonder how interchangeable those responsibilities might be on a series-to-series basis or game-to-game.
Yeah, it could be as interchangeable as you want it to be, honestly. I know, previous years, Jaquan and Bojack, they kind of had their own roles kind of in the defense. But with me and him, like you said, we're very similar in a lot of things that we can do. So I want to be as interchangeable as possible. The defense is, I wouldn't say it's very hard, but it is complex in a way. There are a lot of different things we can do. And I think even just this year, we're trying to add a little bit more layers onto the defense, rather if it come with checks and things like that. So I'm excited. Matt Eberflus, obviously, it's crazy. He had brought in Nick Saban one day during our meetings, and it was just pretty cool to see him. But he's a secondary guy, too, as well. He sits in our meetings. We're always having discussions about, hey, if we have this call, what if we get this look? Can we check the defense to this? Can we check the defense to that? And he's very receptive as far as, like, especially some of the veteran guys coming in with their opinions about things, because obviously we've seen a lot. So it's been exciting for sure.
What's Saban have to say?
He didn't say much, but it was funny because Matt kind of said, or Coach Eberflus said that, Matt Saban coached me way back in the day. And I'm just thinking, like, man, how long ago was this? And then Nick Saban was like, yeah, he was a hitter. And I kind of joked and I made a joke. I was just like, yeah, usually if a coach says you a hitter, that probably means he wasn't that fast. So.
True. That's very true.
So I read somewhere that you said when you look at Brisker, he reminds you of a younger version of you, that you see some of yourself in him. Explain that a little.
Yeah, so I remember when I was a younger player, my second year I made it Pro Bowl first team All Pro. I had a really good year, and I had made the top 100 that year. And they had a clip of me and Jarvis Landry during the game when he was in Miami, and we were just talking like mad trash. I was talking crazy that game. And when I was younger, I just had this I still have a chip on my shoulder, but I had an extremely large chip on my shoulder where I didn't care who was playing. It didn't matter what. I was just in a zone just talking crazy. And I think as a younger player, just that ultimate confidence of Brisker's a talker, and I love that about him. You get on the field, he just screams, and he just has so much energy. You know what I mean? I don't have that much energy like I used to anymore. I kind of it takes me a little while to warm up during practice and things like that. But he just comes out just full of energy. His confidence is through the roof. He wants to be an all-pro, and I love that about him because when I was a younger player coming in, you have to go prove yourself, and you want to prove yourself. Even though this is a every year prove yourself league, I just love his confidence. I love the energy that he brings. So it's going to be exciting to play with him this year.
But as a younger player, as an older player, you have been remarkably durable. You show up and you know the biggest availability. What's the smoothie? Is it your breakfast secret? I heard you talking earlier this camp about what you eat and your routine and your ritual is responsible for you being on the field every Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I had my oatmeal this morning. This is sweet greens. This is actually something new. Like,
okay,
being here with the Bears in the facility, the kitchen, they do a great job. And a lot of guys kind of put me on this, so I'm drinking this in the morning. But even just on the off day, a lot of recovery. Coming in here, hot tub, cold tub, sauna. I actually flew in one of my movement specialists from Tennessee. We did some work at the hotel, and then I got a massage later on that day and just some rest. So, and the good thing about, being a veteran and being in a leadership position, I have a lot of younger guys that's asking me about my routines and things like that. So I'm trying to share as much knowledge. I had a couple guys, Montez, Jared Everett, came and see my movement specialist as well. So, and I also got some IVs. We had a guy from Tennessee fly up. He was stationed at Nate Davis' house, and we got some IVs. So, I just think that it's as much as you can do. I always look at it as investment, right? You invest your time in the things that will pay off in the end. So I invest my time in my body, and they usually always pay off in the end.
Do you pay attention to your Madden rating? Do you care about that at all? You have an 89, which would make you the 7th best safety in the NFL.
I used to care a whole lot. Not as much now.
You're not taunting anyone about your Madden rating versus theirs?
Yeah, that's a whole nother story right there. No, I'm not. I've gotten to a point where in my career, even especially in my younger years, so like I told you, my second year, I had a really good year, made first team All Pro Bowl. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I got into a spat with Deion Sanders because he was on TV. Obviously, he was on TV at the time, and he kind of said that he was giving his ratings of the top 2 safeties in the league, and I think he named Harrison Smith and Tyrann Mathieu. And I was just, young, and got on Twitter and was like, how do you say they're the 2 best safeties and not name one of the first team All-Pro guys? And we got to a spat online. It kind of went viral. He actually blocked me because I think I had so many fans that kept tweeting him about me just over the years. He had blocked me for a while. I think I'm unblocked or whatever. But, I don't really care as much because these are things that I have no control over. You know what I mean? Like, whether if it's PFF ratings or it's Madden or if it's this ESPN thing, I just think that, like, you try to do what you can do. You can look at it as a motivating factor. But other than that, I don't get discouraged by, if my rating drops or if whatever list I'm on, I drop or I go up. It's just something that's motivation. It's always good to be recognized, but nah, we're not getting into no spats over ratings. You know what I mean? Like,
what would you rather do? Make a great interception down the field or light up a running back in the hole?
Interception all day. Don't get me wrong. I like to hit. I've had over 100 tackles, I think, the past 2 or 3 years. But, you get paid by turnovers. It's the same thing on as a pass rusher. You get paid to get sacks. Pressures is nice. Sometimes people do get paid off pressures and things like that. But you want to be able to turn the ball over. And that's something that I've made my calling card ever since I've been playing football. So it's something I like to continue to do.
Do you enjoy intimidating rookie quarterbacks with picks? It seems like your secondary has been winning quite a bit.
Yeah, it's very fun. We want to continue to challenge him for sure. And I think a good thing for him is learning early in training camp or early in his career, especially going against a good secondary every day, what you can and cannot do. One thing that I've seen from him during training camp is his ability to throw on the run is special. You know, I think one of the only guys that I've seen since I've been in the league, yeah, no, for real. One of the only guys that I think who I've seen be able to do that just as good was Josh Allen. Being in Tennessee for so long, we played the Bills like almost every year. And Vrabel, every time we came in the film room before we played those guys, he would always say, do not let Josh Allen scramble to our left. Anytime he scrambles to his right, bad thing usually happens for the defense. Either touchdown, he's throwing it deep. He's very accurate. Caleb is very accurate doing the same thing. But even going the other way, he made a throw during practice to Keenan Allen on the sideline, and he just torqued his body. And he can throw from so many different platforms, arm angles. Is very special. But I think just him doing that, and because one time I almost picked up I was out of bounds. I picked it up, but I was out of bounds. He was doing the same thing, but I think he's just learning what he can do. Sometimes you got to just throw the ball away. But he's getting a lot of great lessons early from this defense, and it's going to make him a way better player.
As a veteran, somebody who is savvy, who's been around the league, and you've seen rookie quarterbacks come in and make an impact. You've also been around a lot of veteran teammates. What is it about Caleb Williams' presence that makes him different?
You know, we going to all talk about, you know, his abilities and things like that. I think it's the intangibles. So I give you a great example. This was literally just yesterday, last night. We did our walkthrough, and we finished the walkthrough. And you know, Coach he talked, and you know, players usually break down. Usually a veteran breaks it down. And Caleb wanted to jump into the middle to break it down. And usually, like, you know, as a rookie, it's like, oh, what does this guy got to say?
Right.
But no, he honestly was just like, hey, first thing he says, he's like, hey man, we're all grown men here, right? You know, as we're going through training camp, and we all use the hot tub, we all use the cold tub, we all use the bathroom and all the areas. He was like, hey man, like we're getting a little too sloppy. You know what I'm saying? We're leaving water bottles and towels and all type of things around, man. Like, these custodians have a lot of square footage they have to cover around this whole building. Let's try to help them out by cleaning up after ourselves. And that's just little things, man, because I just think that when you want to be a great player, you always focus on the little details. You know what I mean? Not even just the details of the play, but the details of everything around you. You know, it's this old video of Ed Reed was kind of talking about the year they won the Super Bowl, about how guys were not picking up their towels after the showers. And he was just like, man, how are we going to be great if we can't pick up our towels? And it's just like little things like that just makes the guy special. Like I said, I think Bears fans are in for a treat for a little while with Caleb Williams for sure.
You know, we've been arguing about who is the best member of the secondary. Obviously, Jalen got paid, and you saw, you know, what he did last year. Stevenson seems to have gotten picked on because he's opposite a guy who eventually gets paid. You know, Kyler Gordon, I mean, that guy can do, like, gymnastic stuff. Like, you see the guy.
Ballet and shoulder pads.
But he can jump over his own, like, he could do a flip. Can you do that kind of stuff? It's unbelievable.
Of course not.
And we know Brisker's a tough kid. Who's the best member of the secondary? I mean, and feel free to include yourself in your evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make too many comparisons about anything, but what I will say is, obviously, Jalen's special. He's a special. I mean, obviously, I kind of always admired his game from afar, and now just watching him up close and personal, he's a for sure shutdown corner. And like you kind of say with Tyreek, he's going to get all those targets because Jalen's shutting things down. But you want to be the guy to get all the targets because that's why you're going to get all the interceptions. And like you said, you want to be able to turn the ball over. You mentioned Kyler.
That's crazy.
I stretch right behind him in stretch lines. And I'll just be watching him like, bro, how can you do that? Like, he must have done gymnastics when he was younger because he's, like, incredibly flexible. And obviously Brisker, and I love his game. But when talking about who's the best, I mean, I feel like it's kind of relative, and I feel like it's kind of hard to say. I will obviously say that, obviously, Jalen deserves that recognition for sure. But you know, I'm no slouch myself. You know
I know. You feel good about you.
Come on now.
Who did you want to be growing up?
As far as player or just
player, who did you want to be? You said Ed Reed. Was he the guy? Was somebody else the guy?
No, I had three. It was like, to me, like the holy trinity of safeties. You have Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu. Those are the three guys that I admired, the three guys that I watched. So I started playing football. I was a safety. I mean, I was a quarterback when I first started playing football. I started to run track in high school. My coach thought I got really fast, and I was, in the weight room gaining weight. He was like, man, I think you look really good back on them hashes. And I'm just like, okay, like, I'm just going to do anything to help the team or whatever. The first video I watched when I started playing, to try to get my mind right, I typed in YouTube, Brian Dawkins Weapon X. It's this crazy motivational video of Brian Dawkins just smacking people. But yeah, those are the three trinities. Obviously, they're all kind of unique in what they did.
Yep.
Avery was a ball hawk. Brian Dawkins and Troy was the same thing, but Brian he just had a reckless abandonment, and same thing for Troy Polamalu. So those are the three safeties that I looked up to growing up for sure.
Kevin, thanks a ton. It's great meeting you. Really looking forward to a heck of a year.
Thank
you. Take it easy on that poor kid, that young quarterback.
We'll try.
Don't break his confidence yet.